Hi there, Mark here again. Welcome to this video about the build of my new DT03 chassis. This is a generic build of the DT03. It will eventually become a racing fighter, but the only difference with that is it's going to have different black wheels, different front tyres, and of course the racing fighter body shell. But that's later. Let's get on with building this kit then. So I'm going to do a little bit of a deviation from my normal videos, my build videos. So on this one I'm going to cut out a lot of the screwing together. So let me know what you think. I'm just going to jump past the parts where I'll be screwing things together. Hopefully you know how to do a screw up, so that shouldn't be a problem. So let's start with the lovely manual. So it tells you to open parts bag A to start with. Then we're going to use all these parts before we continue to parts bag B. I normally open them, put them in a pot like this so I don't lose them. Step 1, it just says charging the battery, so we're not going to worry about that. So straight on to step 2, which is you get some of this sponge tape with it. I've already cut the sponge into the sizes it shows here and stuck them into the two chassis halves. So hopefully you can see there's a piece of sponge in there, maybe not with the light, and there's a piece of sponge there. Do the same for both sides. And then that's it for step 2, nice and easy. Step 3, we go straight into fitting the chassis halves together. So they just clip together nice and easily like that. Then you've got the 3 10mm screws, and they go there, there, and ooh, there's another one somewhere there. There's 2 there. So I'll just fit that together now. Okay, so that's step 3 finished. Nice and easy, just the 3 screws, one in there, one in there, and one right at the back there. Straight on to step 4, which is attaching the front stays. For this we need 1 15mm screw and 3 12mm. Obviously it shows the parts you need here for the step we're doing, and a nice easy thing to do is just line up the parts and make sure you've got the right part. So I know that's the 15mm screw. I'm not sure why, but it shows that one at the bottom of M3. So we're going to get M1 and M3. They fit on the front here like so. That one with the 12mm screws, and then this M3 goes in there like so. So I'll just make those, remembering that the longer screw goes in the bottom here. So there we have step 4 finished. They've attached very tightly. I think that bottom screw goes through the middle there and holds the front together. I think that's why the longer one's there anyway. Okay, so we'll put this aside for a sec. Now we're on to step 5, which is building the Servo Saver. So you're going to need this P3, which is this part here. And I've already put in the BA9 balls, and they're secured by 2 tiny little nylock nuts. The box spanner doesn't fit those, so you will need to use a small pair of pliers to hold those while you do the screws up at the front, and they're a flat screwdriver to do those up. So that's that bit. And then we need P4, which clips over there. That's the bit that actually absorbs the shocks from the servo, from the steering, moving the servo I should say. And we then get the part that you need. You need to just find the part in the kit that fits the servo that you have. And also there will be, there's a selection of I think 3 screws. Pick the screw that's the right one that fits your servo, and make sure you've centered the servo up. I've put a line on mine so I can see. So you connect this up to your receiver, put your transmitter in neutral, turn it all on, and let this center up so you know where the middle is. Okay, so that's that. Then we need this part M9. You need to cut the center out as it shows there, which I've done, and I'm going to mount the servo into this now. As it shows in the diagram, make sure that the longer part here behind this moulding is at the back, and that your actual servo drive is towards the shorter part there, you can see. Okay, and just attach with the two 10mm screws. So your servo should look something like this in its mount. When you've done it, be careful. I remember to put the washers on these screws. These were spinning around when I tightened them up, so be careful not to over tighten that. You'll lose the material inside this carrier otherwise. Right, so when we've done that, you need to get P5 or P6, which mounts onto the servo. You need to find which one fits yours. I'm not sure which one mine is, but I think this one says it's for Sanwa. So, and that fits with the lug pointing straight up, like so, or as close to straight up as you can, with a good push on. Then we need a Servo Saver, and that will go like so. Then you need the small plastic washer, which is P1, goes in the hole there, and the screw that fits your servo. So that's what your servo should look like when it's finished, with your screw in the middle, and you can turn the servo like so. Okay, so now we need to jump to step 7. Sorry, that's step 6 finished. Step 7 now, which is building the steering rods, or steering arms, whichever you want to call them. Now, I'm not going to show you this on camera. What I've done is you've got the 2 straight bars, your BA12s, your BA13 ball ends, and you screw these one in either direction onto the end of each bar. I don't bother with the ruler because the diagrams are to scale, so if you can see that, you can just match it up to that. One cup faces down, the other cup faces up, make 2 the same, and then I don't think it matters which one goes on where, they're both the same, so just pop those onto your Servo Saver, and like that. And straight into step 8. This build's going quite quick, isn't it? Step 8 shows fitting your servo into the chassis. Turn the servo upside down like that. Get your chassis. These arms go through those 2 holes at the front. Make sure the cable's out of the way. Like so. And then we've got the 4 10mm screws to screw in. So I hope you can see, it's a bit difficult really in this light, but hopefully you can see that the servo carrier does slot into position and it lines up quite easily. Again, when I was doing up these screws in here, be careful because this material is very soft and you could end up stripping material out of there. So yeah, don't go too much. Just when it tightens up, you can feel it just about nip up, then I should leave it at that if I were you. Okay, so that's the servo mounted, and on to step 9. So step 9 is a nice easy step. You just need the U-shaped shaft, it says, or U-shaped bracket, and you need part C2. Orientate it the same way around as in the diagram with these little lugs at the back here. We just need to nip off these extra parts on the end. It shows you here in the diagram. We don't need those. Simply make sure you've got the orientation right. So it goes like that and like that, and we just push the bracket through, he says. Okay, so nice and easy, wasn't it? That's step 9 finished. So step 10, another nice easy step. You just need this part M7, which is your front bumper. You need 4 of the 15mm screws. Just check that on there. So yeah, there's the 4 screws. They're going to mount through these 4 holes, and we're going to attach this to the bottom of the front of the chassis. So we'll just get that connected up. Okay, so just make sure that U-shaped bracket is in the channel, in the bumper there, and that looks like it's all lined up, so I'll just get the 4 screws in. Okay, so now we come to step 11, which is attaching the front upper arms, which are part E1, which is this part. You need E1 and these BA2 step screws, or is it a screw pin? And this is where I'm going to deviate from the build a bit, because I want to modify the top arms on mine. I'll show you that in a sec. But if you're building the standard kit, you take your E1 and your pin, and it goes in like so in the top there. Okay, but I want to make my top arms adjustable, so I'm not using those. Instead, I've got some ball ends from RC 4-wheel drive. If you can see there, it's a plastic body with a ball joint in the end. I think it's stainless steel ball joint. It's got a flange on each side, a nice flat end, so those work out about 50 pence each, something like that. And I've got a bit of threaded bar, which is M3. You can buy this stuff and cut its length, or you can get a long screw or bolt and cut the head off, use that instead. What I did was get the standard arm to work out the length and kind of work out where the ends would be, give enough of that bar to screw into each of the ball ends, and basically screw it together. So once you've made up your arm to the approximately the right length, obviously I'll have to tune it up when the car's finished, but I've used some bolts and lock nuts on the back there through the original mounts that would have been for E1, and that fits on the rear, as you can see. And I've already fitted the upright, which is part 12 and 13, which we'll just go into now. So part 12 is just making up the front axles. You can see these parts B1. There's a little lug on the top of the moulding. You probably can't see that, but you'll be able to feel it. That needs to point upwards. I've already made up the right hand side, so I'll make up the other side. Basically, again, copy the orientation of the diagram. Make sure the ball is facing to the back and upwards, like so. And then all you need to do is insert your screw pin. So all I need to do now to finish step 13 is to take the assembled axle and get my chassis. This will go like so. The step screw, or sorry, I keep calling it step screw, the screw pin goes in the bottom there. I said I wouldn't show any screening, but that doesn't take a second. And then I've got a nut and bolt and some washers, and then I'm just going to fit the other end of my adjustable top arms. And then finally just pop on the steering rods. They just clip on. I think the beauty of this, okay, it is probably going to lose a little bit of strength on the front end without having that upper arm on, but I want to give this some negative camber. I'll show you how I set it up at the end when I've finished the build. And I prefer these ball ends. The turnbuckles that you get from Tamiya, which are a hop up for adjusting the suspension in a similar way, have these ball cups on. But I find that after a while they wear out and they just pop off, whereas with this ball end it's captive and it can't come off. So I'm quite happy with that. And yeah, it takes a bit longer to adjust. There's no hex here that you can put a spanner on and just turn, but all you need to do is take the one nut off the back and either screw it up or unscrew it, and that will give the adjustment you need. So anyway, that's the end of step 13. And step 13 is the end of screw bag A. Brings us to a nice close because we're now going to open screw bag B. That'll be on part 2 of the build. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks for watching along, and I hope to catch you on the next one. Cheers.